A recent study by DBS found that by 2030, a 65-year-old retiree would need at least $550,000 to retire. While those with more aspirational ones, such as travel, hobbies, and charitable giving, would need to have at least $1.3 million. How accurate are these figures? We ask a millennial and a semi-retiree to find out what they think.
Hi, I'm Navini. I'm a reporter with the Business Times. I'm 35 years old this year.
My name is Wellbeing. I'm 63 years old now. I'm a senior advisory group partner. I'm semi-retired.
So I did realize when I first started in the working world that I would need about $500,000 to retire conservatively. My financial planner had kind of given me an idea of how much I would need to work towards. At that time, when I was in my mid-20s, I was quite overwhelmed. It felt like a very huge figure to me, and it also felt very far off.
I'm not surprised by it. I tend to meet people who have higher amount than that. So for 550, this is my calculation. If you want to use it for 20 years, you have about 2,000 plus per month.
The older I get, the more I feel that this is actually a very conservative estimate and I might need maybe double that amount, closer to $1 million, if I wanted to retire comfortably. It would cover basic living expenses, be it your groceries, your utilities, any housing needs that I might need to pay off, nice things in life like traveling or fun things on the weekend, and then also medical expenses. So all these things add up and I've had to revise that $500,000 figure along the way.
Just excluding the house, about 1 to 1.3 million will be reasonable for most people. They will be able to get a rough estimate of about 5,000 a month for about 20 years, assuming that they are able to grow the money at the rate of return of 3%. And if inflation comes in at 3%, I think when I aim for 2 million, I have this figure in mind. So for me, financial independence is like creating an ATM where I have a sum of money. With this sum of money, I invest it. If I can get average return of 5%, I'll get 100,000. Of course, if you put in bank, we'll earn about 2%, CPF 2.5%, then bond maybe 4%, but investment maybe 6 to 8%. But the average, if I get 5% return of my total portfolio, I get 100,000 passive income.
My retirement strategy or financial planning strategy has kind of evolved along the way. When I was younger, in my 20s, I actually started off with insurance savings plans, and then I put a lot of savings into bonds as well. As I hit my 30s, I realized I was being too conservative, and actually the right way maybe to do it would have been to put more in equities or stocks where the investments can grow a bit more faster since I have a longer runway to grow the investments. So I kind of tweaked my approach now.
When I started investing 20 years ago, people don't understand a lot about investment. During the time, people talk about savings and more on insurance. So the way to grow money is just put some money in the bank, earn some interest, and then we put into insurance product to get some protection, but at the same time to enjoy some savings. But later we discover that savings element from the insurance product only earn about 3 to 4%. To me, over time, that is not a lot. Until I discovered that in order to grow our wealth faster, the route is definitely must be by investment. That's why our country, we invest our reserve. So for individual, I would say that one of it, definitely put some amount into investment so that you can reach your goal faster and earlier.
So my retirement strategy involves saving in a bunch of different things. I think one aspect of it is insurance savings plans. The other aspect of it is CPF. So I do top up my CPF every month to hit my retirement goals. Of course, rental in Singapore would be the huge one. That's the most obvious way to have passive income down the road, which is what my grandparents did as well towards the end of their years. Other options that I've also considered are REITs. I cover REITs at the Business Times, and I also know that they give fairly decent dividends. That's one way to kind of supplement my passive income. So in terms of where my salary goes to for retirement planning and investments, right now I would say about a fifth to a third go into a variety of investments and savings.
I realized that without stability in my career, we can't really think about retirement, can't really even invest. If I'm working for people, I would say that I will want to make sure that I create value in the company so that the boss will like me, the boss will keep me, and the boss will promote me. That means I create value so that over time my salary will increase. So when we are able to grow, then we have what you call the access to invest. I will put in a lot of pots. For example, cash equivalent, bonds, then equities. I don't go into property because I need to pay ABSD of 20%. So I have cash, but cash will divide into a few pots again. CPF, we have one pot. Then in bank savings, you put into a what I call high yielding bank account like UOB1, OCBC 365, DBS multiplier. Hopefully you can get the 3 to 4% there. The excess in cash, you can put into Singapore saving bond. I think now government is giving us 2.7 or T-bill roughly about 2.9%. So that will be the cash equivalent. Anytime you want it, you can touch it. Then the another pot will be bonds. So I put in bonds, will get 4 to 5%, low risk. More than half will go into equities. And usually I will go into global equities. I don't go and speculate or go and buy into a certain NIM stocks and so on. I prefer investment that is globally diversified so that I can get a reasonable return over long term. So about 37% in cash equivalent, 12% in bond, and now 50% in equities.
I haven't had any major setbacks yet, but I'm starting to realize that I have to respond to events in the market. For instance, it hasn't been all smooth sailing. Right now we have Trump in, and the stock markets are sometimes going up, sometimes going down, and you just have to know that you have to be resilient and just keep the course even when that happens, because you are planning for the long term and you can't afford to wait it out.
Usually when there's setback, to me it falls into the two categories. One, ill health, and the other one is that job not stable. In the 1990s, the business was doing very well. So during that period, probably go into debts. At the point of time, I can't even think of retirement. That is about 20 plus to 30 years ago, because the income is not there. When the income is not there, you can't even think of retirement. You just have to make the best use of whatever is in front of you. Settle the most urgent thing, which is the debt part. Especially credit card debt is so high, 24%. You really eat into whatever. Once the money comes in, pay, So after a while, you don't have a lot of savings. So it took me about quite a few years to get out of the rut, to get out of the valley, which is not easy.
My advice to my younger self, if I could redo it all over again, would probably be less conservative. Put more in stocks and bonds at the start to let the time horizon play out so that it compounds more over time, rather than be so conservative as I was and put most of my investments into, say, bonds or savings plans. Not that that's bad, but I just wish I had gone more on stocks and equities right from the start.
When money come in, don't spend beyond our means. Let's say 5,000 come in, don't spend 5,500. You'll be in debt. Don't spend at our means. That means 5,000 come in, you just spend 4,008, left 200. So you can't grow money. What if 5,000 come in and you are able to spend 4,000, you get 1,000 a month. If every month you put 1,000 over a period of time, it's going to be a lot. So spend below our means. But make sure our fundamental is correct first. That means our career is settled and give value to a company or give value in a marketplace. So in order to not overspend, I create a budget. So I take note of that. When I don't do very well, I calculate every cent. I even have a notebook, rice, 230, write down. Take bus, 50 cents, write down. That's how I really budget to make sure that I don't overspend. Money is just a resource. Enough resource, the mental well-being is also better. It's when we don't have enough resource like money or enough savings, the stress of life will kick in. It's not the money, it's the resource that help us to create memories with our loved ones. So that over time, when you look back, it's not the money. It's like we spend time together. We laugh together in this location. We travel in this place and we have this wonderful snow falling on our head and we can talk about it.
I think the act of saving for retirement forces you to think about how you want to live in your later years, and that in a sense has been a very good thought exercise for me as an individual to kind of envision that and be able to work towards that vision. That being said, I'm also aware that this vision constantly changes for me depending on what I like, what I don't like, and how I envision my life to be, right? So yeah, it goes both ways.